Okay, so you got my question. Okay, so what I was asking is so when to use what. So that means if my context is to use only abstract methods means I have to go for the interface. Okay, so now let me ask another question. I wanted to have only implemented methods.
Then I have to go for abstract class.
Class.
Okay, any other opinions?
You have to go for the,
Sorry.
you have to go for class.
Right. Any other opinions? Sham, you are not answering anything.
Yeah, I'm not clear. That's the reason I'm not answering.
Okay, so I felt like you were following yesterday, but
And yeah, I'm following, but something is missing here. So
no,
yeah, that's the reason I'm keeping quiet.
that's the reason I'm asking questions. Okay, don't take it in other way. Okay, so this is for you.
No, no, no.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
for your understanding only. Okay, so as I have quoted yesterday, some example like you started on your car or bike. Okay, so you ended up with three ways. Okay, so you should be in a position to choose the corresponding way to reach your destiny. Okay, so then only you can reach your destiny in an effective manner, right? Is it not? So in a similar way, here we have class, abstract class, and interface. So at what time you have to use what, so that you should have a clear idea. So that's the reason why I wanted to ask you questions. Okay, so there is no confusion, Sham. So let me tell you like this. Okay, so if you wanted to have only abstract methods, if you wanted to have only abstract methods means you can go for the interface. Okay, so that is clear. I think everybody able to understand. Okay, if you wanted to have only implemented methods or non-abstract methods. Non-abstract methods means already implemented, or you can say all defined methods. Okay, so if you wanted to have only implemented methods or only non-abstract methods or only defined methods, all defined methods, then you can go for the class. Then you can go for the class. So that means class means normal. Okay. So if you wanted to have only implemented methods means you can go for the normal class. If you wanted to have only abstract methods means you can go for the interface. So now there is a hybrid thing comes up in between class and interface. That hybrid thing is nothing but abstract class. So abstract class will contain both implemented methods as well as unimplemented methods. Abstract methods or abstract methods and non-abstract methods. Defined methods
Yeah.
and undefined methods. These are the different ways we can use the statement. Okay, so you got clarity now. So try to remember like
Yeah.
okay, only implemented methods means class, only abstract methods means interface. Okay, so in between these
Um,
we have a abstract class, so that contains both flavors like implemented as well as unimplemented methods.
yeah.
Still confused?
No,
No, right?
I'm forgetting that.
Okay, okay, that's fine. Okay, so that means you are not practicing. That indicates. Okay, so please do practice.
Yeah, I told you I'm not. I didn't do any practice.
Yeah, yeah, that I understand. Okay, so that applicable to everybody. Okay, please do practice. Okay, so going forward, you'll be learning more of concepts and programming. Okay, so these are whatever we have been learning till now. So these are like basic concepts. Okay, so you'll be here. You'll be having more complex concepts. Okay, so I can't say I don't want to use complex. Okay, the reason being is if you understand there's nothing like complex. Okay, so that's the reason why I'm able to survive for the last 7 years with Java, is it not? If it is complex means I would not have survived with Java. Is it not? Okay. So the only point is you should understand. That's it. Okay. So now let me ask another question. Okay. So don't worry about the time. So I'm interested to know where you are. Okay. So don't worry about the time and classes. Okay. So it's up to me. Okay. Okay. I'll be completing the course. Okay. But at the same time, I need your satisfaction. So that's the reason why I'm asking these questions. Okay. Don't take it in other way. Okay. So what does it mean by abstract method? We have been talking abstract method. What does it mean by abstract method?
A method which doesn't have a body.
Right. Okay. So a method which doesn't have a body, a method which doesn't have a definition, right? Is it not? Okay. So now there is another rule I wanted to recollect. Like suppose you wanted to write abstract class or interface in your program. Okay. So then that should be followed by a
Abstract method.
class or interface. That should be followed by a derived class, right? Is it not? So that is what we have been seeing, we have been discussing in our programs. If you are just writing abstract class means you for abstract class you cannot instantiate an object. So that means you cannot create an object. Okay. Whereas coming to interface as well, you cannot create instance for that. I mean you cannot create object for the interface as well. Okay. So that means if you wanted to write abstract class or interface in your program means that should be followed by a derived class. Agreed?
Yes.
Okay. So in that derived class, what is the responsibility of that derived class? That derived class responsibility is to provide implementation for the abstract method of your
Method.
interface or abstract class. Are you able to follow me?
Yeah.
Okay. So what
We
to
should be able to implement the abstract method, right?
right. Okay. So that is what I'm trying to say this. So if you are writing abstract class means you need to derive a derived class. Okay. So that derived class responsibility is to provide implementation for the abstract method, to provide implementation for this abstract method. Okay. So in a similar way, if you are writing a interface means if you're writing a interface means so here so you will be having a derived class. So that derived class responsibility is to provide implementation for this abstract method. So that means this. You got my point? Okay. So this is what we have already learned. Okay. And another point I wanted to recollect is like this. You have a abstract class, and from that abstract class you are deriving a class, right? Is it not? Suppose this derived class is not interested to provide implementation for your abstract method, then what should I do? Let me come again question. So this is what we have already covered, just I wanted to recollect. It's kind of
You
recap.
need to extend another class, right?
Sorry, can you just come again?
You need to have another class which can implement that, right?
Right, but is there any changes we need to make in this class?
Yeah, we need to change that class to abstract class and add another class which will extend the Java class.
Right, that is what exactly I'm expecting. Okay, so what I wanted to convey over here is if you have a derived class for your abstract class, that derived class is not interested to provide implementation, then your derived class should become abstract. The derived class should become abstract. Okay, For that derived class, again you will be writing another derived class. So there you are going to provide implementation for your abstract class. You got my point? Am I confusing you? Krishna, able to follow me?
Krishna is offline, right?
Yeah, he's offline. Kishore, you know anything about Krishna? He is able to join today?
No. He just joined, and I think he might have disconnected. I guess.
Okay, 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 not a problem.
On.
Okay, okay, whom I can ask otherwise? Yeah, yeah, Krishna, right. So, Sirisha, able to follow this?
Mahesh. Yes, Mahesh.
Okay, that's good. Okay, so I think everybody is able to follow me. Okay, so let's move ahead with our session. So today we are going to learn method overloading. Today we are going to learn method overloading. So what does it mean by method overloading? Okay, so method overloading is something like this. Okay, you will be having same method name. You will be having same method name with the different number of arguments. Okay, so that means suppose if you are filling up some form, if you are filling up some online registration form, okay, so there are you this is what the real time scenario you can catch it. Okay, so let me tell you like, okay, so if you are filling some online registration form means, okay, so there you have number of details it is going to ask you to enter, right? Is it not? So it is asking you to enter number of details, number of fields are there. Out of those n number of fields, you would have you would have some 10 or 15 mandatory fields. Agreed? Okay, so that means as a user you will be bothering about only mandatory fields, right? So it is your option, it is your choice to enter non-mandatory fields, right? Is it not? Okay, so if you are interested, then you can go ahead of filling the non-mandatory fields or not, right? Is it not? It is your choice, but that is from the person of user. Somebody was talking. Okay. So let me come again. So suppose if you are registering some online application, so then you need to fill some fields, okay, some registration form. So there you may have n number of fields. Out of n number of fields, you may have to fill some 10 or 15 mandatory fields. So that means that 10 and 15 you need to fill them mandatorily. Okay. So other than this 15 means you have a choice of filling them or not. Okay. So that means so that is from the per se of I mean from the perspective of user, from the perspective of end user. Okay. So you have a choice. Okay. So whether you wanted to enter that non-mandatory fields or not. Okay, but when it comes to a developer per se, so that means when it comes to developer perspective, that means who has developed that application, who has developed that application. So for the perspective of developer, okay, he has to take care both mandatory fields as well as non-mandatory fields. Is it not? Is it not? And suppose if end user wants to enter non-mandatory fields also, developer is in a position, I mean the your application is in a position to hold, your application is in a position to hold both mandatory fields as well as non-mandatory fields. Is it not? You got my point?
Yes.
Okay. 1 second, somebody is pinging. Kishore,
I don't see Kishore.
sorry? Okay.
Kishore is offline. Maybe not. He's unable to see.
Hey, I'm there.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I'm there.
Okay. Okay. So try to focus on the example. Okay. So there are two perspectives we are discussing. Okay. So from the perspective of user, so it is his choice. Okay. It is his choice whether he can enter values for the non-mandatory fields or not. But when it comes to developer perspective, okay, so he could able to he could able to take up everything user is entering. Okay, everything user is entering. Okay, so let me go specific way. Like suppose I said, as I said, 15 mandatory fields are there. Okay, 15 mandatory fields are there out of some 30 fields. Okay, so we have 30 fields in the registration form. Out of 30 we have 15 mandatory fields. Okay, so now how many arguments or how many input parameters to a program? Can we decide that? It can be 15 plus. We cannot sure about the number. Am I right?
Yes.
You got me? Okay, suppose,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
you are writing a program means, so in that program you are going to write a method. So that method comes up with fixed number of arguments, is it not? Suppose if you wanted to calculate addition of two numbers means that method can take only two parameters. Suppose for that, from that method you are passing three parameters means it cannot handle. Agreed?
Right.
Right? You want me to show you example, or you are able to follow me?
Yeah, like a race,
No, yeah.
right? Race, whether you can enter or you cannot, you don't need to enter.
Right. See here. So this is the addition method I have. So here I am passing two variables, okay, two parameters. So this method can handle only two parameters. Suppose if I pass more than two parameters, if I pass more than two parameters like 5, 6, and 7, 5, 6, and 7, then it is an error. So what I'm saying, see here, the method addition int in type addition is not applicable for the argument three parameters. You got my point? So that means if you are writing your program to accept two parameters means, okay, it can accept only two parameters. Okay, so that means how many number of parameters your method can handle, that is pre-decided. That is pre-decided. Right? Is it not? Is it not?
Yes,
Okay. Suppose you are passing two parameters means you are going to calculate addition. If you are passing three parameters means again you are going to calculate addition only, not subtraction. Agreed?
Yes.
yes,
Okay. So if you in two scenarios, if you are going to calculate addition means you will be in a confusion what is the method name should be. Right? Is it not? For if it is only one means you will be having a method name as addition. Okay, so if you have number of methods with varying number of arguments, then you will be in a confusion what should be my method name, is it not? Agreed?
yes.
Agreed, right? Okay, you are able to follow my example, I think. Okay, so first let's say suppose you have two methods. Okay, so for one thing, addition one, two parameters, addition two, three parameters. So like that, suppose you are not sure, how many number of arguments you will be getting, because as I have quoted example, right, some online registration form, from there you will be getting 15 plus, but you are not sure of that number. Why? Because there are some non-mandatory fields. There are some non-mandatory fields. Okay, so some users may enter non-mandatory fields, some users not interested to enter non-mandatory fields. Agreed? Suppose if they are interested to enter non-mandatory fields means they may fill completely non-mandatory fields, or they may not enter completely mandatory fields. Agreed? So that means, so at instance, you cannot say how many parameters you will be getting. Agreed?
Yeah.
Okay, so if that is the scenario means from user perspective, we never think of that. From user perspective, how they are being handled, we never think of it. Okay, but when it comes to developer perspective, you should think, you should think how to handle, how to handle number of arguments for the same functionality. For the same functionality. Suppose you are getting 16 arguments, what you will be doing? Registration. Suppose you are getting 18 parameters, what you will be doing? Registration only. Suppose you are getting 20 parameters, what you will be doing? Registration only. You cannot change the name, right? Is it not? Because your functionality is you wanted to register that user. You got me?
Yeah.
Okay. So that means what I wanted to convey is you have to have common method name, you have to have same method name, you have to have same method name with different number of arguments. Okay, so that is the usage of having, that is the usage of having method overloading. Okay, so when you are serving same functionality with the number of arguments means that would be considered like method overloading. Okay, so that's where we need to learn a concept called method overloading. Okay, so in
Yeah.
future I'll be quoting the same example. Okay, for another concept, I'll be quoting the same example for another concept. Okay, so that is like I will let you know that I will let you know. I don't want to let you know now itself. Why? Because you'll be confusing. Okay. So for now, you understood that example. And why do we need method overloading? That you understood. So why do we need method overloading is you are going to serve same functionality with the number of arguments, with the different number of arguments. So that means it doesn't matter whether you pass, whether you get 15 fields or 16 fields or 18 fields, but you will be doing the same registration. Okay. So you will be not writing conditions like if you get 15 fields, registration one, if you are getting some 17 fields, your registration two, something like that means. So it would be not a best practice, is it not? It's not a good programming way. So that's the reason why Java inventors has come up with a concept called overloading. Okay, so what does it mean by overloading? Where exactly we can see that overloading and how to implement that overloading in a program, that we are going to see now. I hope you understood the example, right? Okay, so let
Yeah.
me
Yeah.
take you through the slide. So method overloading in Java. If a class have multiple methods by same name but different parameters is known as method overloading. That is what we just discussed, right? If a class have multiple methods by same name, so that means you are going to do registration only, irrespective of number of fields you are getting, right? Is it not? Okay, so if you wanted to implement such kind of scenario in your programming means you have to go with the concept called method overloading. So what does it mean by method overloading? As a definition, you can say like this: if a class have multiple methods by same name but different parameters, it is known as method overloading. I think you understood,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so now we are going to see ways to achieve this method overloading. Okay, so you understood what does it mean by method overloading. So now it's time to understand, is there any different ways to achieve this method overloading? Yes, yes. Okay, so what are those different ways? Let's see that. So first one is change in number of arguments. Change in number of arguments. So that is what we have been discussing, right? Is it not? So that means we may get 15 fields, we may get 16 fields, we may get 17 fields, we may get n fields. right? We are not sure about that. Okay, so if you have change in number of arguments with the same method name, we can say it is method overloading. Okay, so that is one of the way. And another way is change in order of arguments. Change in order of arguments. Okay, so what does it mean by, so I will take you to example. So first let me take you through simple example, that is first type change in number of arguments. Okay, so one by one we are going to discuss. So prior to that, just I hope like you understood what does it mean by method overloading, and why do we need method overloading concept for anything. For anything in Java, you should understand why do we learn this concept. Why are we learning this concept? You should have that question first in your mind. Okay, so then you will be able to remember the concept very easily. Okay, so that means you should end up with some problem. For that problem you should be able to find a solution. Okay, so as a solution you will be learning the concept. That is how you should interlink them. Then you will be not forgetting forever, I can say. Okay, so you understood when to use and where exactly method overloading comes into picture, that you understood. That is what I believe. Okay, so now we are going to see types of method overloading. That means in different ways of implementing method overloading in your program, we are going to see. So first one is change in number of arguments. Okay, so that you already understood, so it won't take much time to explain in a program, but still let me try to uh, explain in a program. So I wanted to have main method. So here, so I'm going to have public int, the same program, just I wanted to have addition int here, int here. Okay, so now it is saying error. So what could be the error? Can somebody guess this? Another 20 seconds.
Written.
Yeah,
Written.
right. So it should have a return type. Okay, it should have a return statement. So if we are using return type is return type as other than void, return type as other than void, you should have a return statement as the end statement of your method. Okay, so that thing you have to understand. Okay, so that means, so return can be, what is the data type it can return? What is the data type it can return? Integer.
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 Okay, so it can return of type integer. Okay, so now just I wanted to calculate a plus b. A and b are integer, right? A and b are integer. So now when I calculate a plus b also, I'll be getting integer only, right? Okay,
Yes.
that means this is satisfied. See here, I did not select these two, but they are being selected. So that means they are in sync. Agreed?
Yes.
Question, yes, may not be related, but suppose if you are instead of addition, you are dividing something and you are getting the output as a float.
Ah,
How you will do that?
yeah, good question. So then what you wanted to do is your return type would be float and your parameter would be int.
Oh, but according to this, the return type should be the same as. integer, right?
I did not say that. Okay, so whatever the data
Oh,
I said like a and b are integer and a plus b would be integer only. So that's the reason why I taken like that.
okay.
Because you are the developer. You are the developer means you are the creator. So if you are the creator means you should have some idea what kind of data it can hold. Based on that you will be
Mm-hmm.
deciding,
Okay.
right? You are the creator means you are given with everything, right? All the powers you have. Okay, so it's your choice. It's your choice to make or to select as a return type or to select as the parameter types. Okay, so everything you have your choice. Okay, so based on your visualization or imagination you are going to hold some integer or float something like that. If it is not working means you will be changing that. So by practice
Okay.
follow that, just by practice. Okay,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
I wanted to make this example as simple as such. So that's the reason why I always take integer. Okay.
Yeah.
So here public int addition a and b. So it is going to take that. So now here in between that, just I wanted to have. So okay. So just I wanted to have a statement like that. Okay. So you are able to understand that I think. Okay. So now if you wanted to call that method means again you need to create an object, that is for sure. Object name can be anything. Object name can be anything. So it can be it can be anything. So you can have Sam also, not a problem,
Yeah.
right? So it can be anything. Okay. So just I wanted to revert that. So mod dot addition. So here it is expecting some values to be passed. Okay. So when I execute this program, I'm getting output. So can we say it is following overloading?
Where did you define the overloading concept here?
Right. That is what I'm asking. Again, you are asking a question.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, not a problem. So this is the same program what we have been practicing in our sessions, right? So that means there is nothing we have defined, okay, specifically related to method overloading. Okay, so what does it mean by method overloading? Method name with the number of arguments. So that means here we have only one method name. How can you say same method name? So that means here we have to write another method with now I can say this is overloaded method. Agreed? See here. So from this method what you are calculating addition. From this method what you are calculating addition. But here how many parameters you have? Two parameters. But here how many parameters you have? Three parameters. Agreed? So now same method name with the different number of arguments is known as method overloading. That is what we learned from this slide, right? Agreed. So if a class have multiple methods by same name but different parameters here. Okay. So different parameters. Please do remember this these two words. Different parameters it is saying. Okay. But the different parameters comes into different ways. So first one is change in number of arguments. So what is this? Change in number of arguments. Change in number of arguments means here 2 number and here 3 in number, right? Is it not 3 arguments and 2 arguments? So that means this falls under change in number of arguments. Agreed?
Yeah.
So now this is the program. This is the program to explain method overloading of type same method name with number of arguments, change in number of arguments. Okay, so now if I wanted to call that another addition method means I can very well call something like this. So just by passing, okay, so when you execute this program, no ambiguity, you will be getting the results. You will be getting the result here. Overloading method with 2 parameters, overloading method with 3 parameters. Of course you are maintaining same method name, but how compiler would differentiate is you are passing number of parameters. You are passing number of parameters. See here. So if you are passing 2 parameters means it will be going to this method. If you are passing parameters means it is going to get result from this method. Any confusion? Suppose as I have quoted in the example like suppose you have a Santosh in one section A and there is the same name Santosh in section B as well, then how would you differentiate is with initials Santosh K and Santosh S, something like that, is it not? So in the similar way compiler is going to identify same method name with the different number of arguments or change in number of arguments. So based on this change in number of arguments, it is going to identify the particular method. So why do we need to have this method overloading is you are not sure how many, when you are not sure how many arguments you will be getting, but you will be serving the same functionality. In that case, you have to go for the method overloading. Okay, I hope you understood this first type, change in number of arguments. Okay, so let's move on. Change
Do
in
you,
number of arguments. Any questions?
that's how they will write the program? Like if you have 20 variables, you will write it 20 times that method with the different variables, and then the, again, the implementation also 20 lines with 1, 2, 3, 4, like 20 variables.
Not exactly. That is what I have mentioned another point, right? So from that real-time example, you need to understand 2 points. Out of those 2 points, I'm just going to focus on only one point, and remaining other point you'll be learning in another concept.
Oh,
The
okay.
question you asked related to the other point which I have left over. Okay, that
Okay.
concept
Okay.
is,
Okay.
yeah, that concept is different. Okay, so if I let you know that concept means you'll be getting confused with this method overloading. So that's the reason why I'm
Okay.
not interested to introduce that. Okay, so for now
Okay.
that real-time example as it is cannot be applied to this program. Okay, so what
Okay.
is my expectation is, so out of these 2 methods, you will be doing the same functionality. That is what you need to understand. Okay. So 15 number of
Yeah.
arguments you are passing, you will be doing registration. 17, you will be doing registration. That point I wanted to highlight. Okay.
Got it.
Yeah.
Can I see the output of this program in my?
Yeah, sure. Control S, Control F. Yeah.
Oh, so is it adding all those integers?
Yes.
I can't see the full screen.
Right.
In the program itself.
You can see my screen, but you are unable to see what is the added value, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then
They're
what?
not printing, I think.
Right. You have a reason. So you are not printing that. See here, you are returning that value. Returning means you have to catch to some variable and then you can print that variable, or else you can have or else you can have a statement something like this. So here if you are going to hold something like a, b plus c, and here a, p, sorry. Okay, so now see the output.
Yeah.
Okay, so 11 and 15 you are getting. Okay, so this is the one way. Okay, and another way could be something like this. Let me remove. Another way could be, anyways it is returning a value, right? Anyways it is
Yeah.
returning a value, right? So that returning value would be integer, right? So that means here
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to hold int c equal to that value. Okay, so now printing that.
Oh, okay.
So different ways, you are the creator. Okay,
Yes.
you should get the grip on it. Okay, so then you can do anything. So here I wanted to catch to some d variable. So that d I can very well print out here. So now control S and control F11. See here.
Yes. You can do.
So
Thank you.
have not as you have not had that printing statement, so that's the reason why you are not seeing that added value. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I hope you understood this program. So let's move on with the other type. So what is the other type? Change in order of arguments. Change in order of arguments. See here. So here we have integer A and integer B. So for now, just let me. Okay. So change in of arguments we have seen. Okay. So now I wanted to copy the same program, or you want me to go to some other different program? Can I explain in the same program? Can I make changes in the existing program?
Yes, you can.
Okay. So if that is the case, let me comment out there. Okay. So so that is already we discussed. Okay. So that you can refer at later point of time. So now I'm going to focus on change in order of arguments. Okay, for that again I will be taking the same methods and I will be making changes here. Am I confusing you? No, right?
No.
Yeah, it's fine.
I'm going to pass on these examples to you. So at that time you should be able to recollect by seeing these comments as well. So that is what I'm trying to do. So that's the reason why I just commented out. That means we can see in the green line, green color means they are not identified by the compiler. Agreed?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So now change in order of arguments I wanted to explain. Okay. So change in order of arguments means, see here. So change in order of arguments. So suppose let's say int a comma int b. Okay. So its return type is int. Okay. Order of arguments. Suppose let's say
You need to have a character entry. That's then you can see the correct example. Like one is name and one is ID or something.
no, I don't want to deal that much complex example. Let me introduce the
Okay.
functionality, not the functionality. Okay, so once you are familiar with the concept, then you can go for it. Okay, see here
Okay.
what I'm trying. Don't worry about the errors. We can resolve them. Okay,
Um,
yeah, try to follow this. So first we have a integer a and float b. How many number of parameters? Two only. So here float a and integer b. Right, agreed. So here also
Okay.
number of arguments.
Yes.
Same method name with the same number of arguments but a different order of arguments. So that's the reason why I have given statement as change in order of arguments. Change
Yes.
order of arguments, but number of arguments is same. Agreed? So here also two parameters, here also two parameters, same method name, okay, but different order of arguments. Am I confusing you?
No.
Okay, so this is also considered like method overloading, but here we are getting errors. We are getting errors. Why? Because int and float. If you are adding int and float means you will be not getting int. You will be not getting int.
Yeah, the return type.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
getting change method return type as float.
So,
Yes.
Okay, so now here also the same I think. So here the problem is it doesn't have C parameter. So now it is coming back to the same float. Okay, so if the return type is float means here also I have to make change.
Float.
So float.
Yeah.
Still we are getting error. I'm expecting from you to answer. I mean resolve this error. You have already learned
You
it.
are not passing.
Sorry?
ah,
You should pass float, right?
Float D, right? Float, you will have some F or something, right?
Right. So if
Float F.
you wanted to
1.0
right.
something.
You wanted to call the int and float means int is fine, float means so something followed by zero.
Yes.
Still we are
Or
getting
zero, yeah.
right. So
You will put F, right?
right, it's gone. Right. So now
oh,
here coming to here. So I wanted to make this as F and then 5. Agreed? Okay. So
is it
Yes.
compulsory to write F after the value?
I think question itself wrong. Okay. The reason being is it is not allowing us. Agreed? Is it not, Nasreen? Nasreen, if you're not giving F means it is not allowing us,
Okay.
right? So that means it is mandatory that you have seen. Agreed? Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. So Control S and Control F11. See now? But in the output you will be getting only decimal values only, not F or not D, something like that. What we need to enter as F means there is a decimal value with double also, double data type. So it is unable to differentiate whether it is a float or double. So that's the reason why if it is double means you have to give D, if it is float means you have to give F. But in output you will be not seeing any difference. So you will be getting just decimal value. That's it. Can I proceed further?
Yes.
Okay, so this is what other type change in order of arguments. See here, here also you are passing two parameters, here also you are passing two parameters. Okay, so but how the method would be decided is if you pass integer first means it is going to the first method, if you pass float first means it is going to the second method. So that is how compiler is going to identify your particular method. So now here, so this is method overloading, same method name with with change, same method name with different order of arguments. Same method name with different order of arguments. Sorry, but number of arguments is same. Number of arguments is same, but order of arguments is different. Okay, so that's how compiler can differentiate your method when it is calling. Okay, so let me proceed with the further, right? So this is what also you have learned. So you learn change in number of arguments. You learn change in order of arguments. Okay. So now what could be the other type? Change in types of arguments.
That's what we just did, right? Float and integer. We covered all three.
Okay. So still there is a gap, something like this. So let me explain that. So what does it mean by change in types of arguments? Okay. So I think I wanted to make use the same example. You are able to follow me, right? Okay.
Yeah.
That just I wanted to comment out this. Of course, as you have pointed out, so that is partly covered in this example, but still there is something you need to understand. Not understanding, you can see that variation. So that let me go through that. Earlier we had a mixture of types, right? So now I wanted to have same data type. Okay, so that I will be having so integer, so that here I will be having int. Okay, so here I will be having float. Okay, so if that is the case, if that is the case, so why we are getting this error? Because
The first one you need to remove that, right? You need to remove the int. Yeah.
so here,
Now it should.
so see here, here what we are concentrating here is change in types of arguments. So that means here you have entirely integer and here you have entirely float. Okay, so if you are if you wanted to
Oh,
calculate some 4.0 and 5.0 means, so this method will be getting executed. If you wanted to calculate 4 and 7 means, this method gets executed. Okay, so this is change in types of arguments. So let me execute this program. See here, so earlier we were getting 11.0 something like that. See here, 11 only, so that means both are integer, but coming to here 9.0, so that means both are float. In a similar way you can use double also, you can practice that. Okay, so you use different types of arguments, so that you will be, you have to use different return type as well. Okay, so you can practice that on your own. Okay, so these are flavors or different types of implementing overloading in a Java program. So what are the different ways? What are the different ways? So what does it mean by method overloading? Method overloading is maintaining, or else I can say having same method name with the different parameters. What is the definition of that? Having same method name Having same method name with the different parameters is known as method overloading, and it can be achieved in three different ways. So by maintaining change in number of arguments, or change in order of arguments, or change in types of arguments. So by using all the three ways, you can achieve method overloading. Okay, so agreed.
yeah.
Okay, so let's move on. Let's move on with the remaining part of this slide. So what is the another point I wanted to highlight over here is, in Java, method overloading is not possible by changing the return type of method. So what it is focusing on? Return type of a method. You know what does it mean by return type, right? And where exactly we can see a return type of a method? So that we have been using. So this, right? So this is the return type of your method. So what it says is, so if you are changing return type of a method, it is not going to it is not going to have overloading in Java. So that means, so it would be focusing on only arguments, not on return type. That is what that point says. So what it says in Java, method overloading is not possible by changing return type of the method. See here, what we are changing here, how we are achieving this, only focusing on arguments. Is it not? We have not focused on return type of a method. So that means, so this is the important interview question. Okay, can we have overloading? Can we have overloading with the help of a change in return type? He will be asking like that. Okay, so this is the important interview question. So with the help of return type, we cannot achieve method overloading. You want me to show the proof in a program? Are you able to follow me?
Show me.
Yeah, great. Let's take a simple example. So then again, I wanted to just
Because what I understood from this is when you are changing the input float to from integer to float, we are changing return type also.
oh, one second. Anyways, I'm trying to explain in a program, right? Please wait.
Yeah.
So why I'm adding these comments is at later point of time you will be able to recollect. Okay. So that is what my intention. Okay. So what it is saying is, so change in return type. So that means number of arguments would be same, order of arguments would be same, type of arguments would be same. That is what it means. See here, what is the difference between these two methods? What is the difference between these two methods? Only return type. Other than this, everything is same. Types of arguments,
Yeah.
number of arguments same, order of arguments same. Then compiler is in ambiguity state. So that means it is unable to identify which method it has to call, because it can differentiate with the help of arguments only. With the help of return type, it cannot decide. When you will have a return type, once you enter method and do some functionality, then you are going to return some value. So that means it is at the as a last statement. But here when you have to decide this calling, when you are going to decide this calling, so that is based on the arguments. So this return type would help us at the end of execution, right? Is it not? But when you are going to call, how you are going to call is with the help of number of arguments. Okay, so that is failing over here. So that's the reason why we are maintaining, we have a statement like this: change in return type would not help us to achieve overloading.
Okay.
Does it prove?
I got it.
Okay, so I think everybody understood, right?
Yes.
So just it is not possible. So that's the reason why just I wanted to comment out this. Okay, so I wanted to uncomment this. Why? Because there should be something to get results, right? So that's the reason why. So this is what overloading with the different scenarios. Okay, so now let's move back to the slide. What it says again. So method overloading increases the readability of the program. Is it not? Agreed with that statement? Method overloading
Yeah.
the readability of the program. Okay, is it not? So if you go throughout the program, okay, so you can say that each and every method is calculating addition only. Is there any other functionality? No, right? So that means that is easy to read, that is easy to identify. That is what it says. It increases the readability of the program. Okay, so now we have a important interview question. Okay, actually I should not display that answer. Of course I'm displaying that answer, so that's the reason why I will be asking how it is possible. If you are unable to answer, I will be explaining in a program. So let me ask this question. So can we overload main method? So now we have understood what does it mean by overloading and how to achieve overloading. Okay, okay, so different ways we have learned. So now it is time to understand, can we overload a main method? Main method, you know, right?
It's void, right?
No, you did not get the question, I think. Can we overload a main method? So void means what? So void is a return type. What I am asking, can we overload a main method? Main method is this, right? Can we overload a main method? So that means what it is saying, can we have same main method with a different number of arguments, or with different types of arguments, or with different order of arguments? Can we have? That is what my
Yes,
question.
yes,
I
we can.
thought it will be only one main program.
Uh,
We can.
we can.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. And who is going to call this main method? So that is identified by the JVM, right? Okay. So JVM is directly identifying your main method, right? So if that is the case,
Main with
how?
the same type of same arguments, right? It will identify with the string argument. So, but we can write a normal main method with the name of main or something.
Yeah, you should maintain the same name. Then only it will be called like overloading. Is it not?
Even static also we need to maintain.
Have we discussed static while I'm explaining that overloading?
No.
That means static uh, not needed. I mean,
Can I write like this public void main without having any arguments? We can write a main method, right, with the same name.
that is what my question is. I'll be answering that.
Yeah, I think we can write. I mean, as per the concept.
Right, right. Any other opinions you have, guys? Can we write? Can we overload main method? Because you have been overloading many methods in different ways, right? Is it not? So now it is important interview question, like, can we overload a main method? Can we overload a main method?
my answer is no.
Okay, you should justify that. Why?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still thinking only one main method will be in a program.
Okay. Because it is identified by the JVM, so we should not have more.
Yes, yes,
Have,
that's the main thing. That's the main thing. Yes.
yeah, if you have more number of main means JVM will be in a confusion to choose particular main method. That is what your answer. Okay, so not from my side.
Yes, yes.
That is fine. So any other opinions you have? Krishna? Krishna is there, right?
I don't see.
He disconnected again. Whenever I'm
For
asking,
long back we disconnect.
yeah, it seems like he got disconnected. Whenever I'm trying to pose question to him, he is not in connected. Okay, okay. So then whom should I ask? Sirisha, you have any other opinion?
Main method can be overloaded.
I can't hear you.
Main method can be overloaded.
Right, you are saying yes. Okay, we can overload a main method. Okay, so you are not answering from the slide, right?
No.
Have answer yes. Okay, so you're not answering from this answer, right? Okay, so you have any justification for that?
Yesterday you told us that we can write main method in an abstract class and we can Implement the main method in the derived class.
Okay. Okay. You don't need to go that much detail. Okay. So just it's a simple concept. Whatever we learned today.
Okay.
Okay. Krishna, you got my question? I wanted to hear his voice. That's the reason.
He just came.
Yeah, that's the reason I seen. Krishna, you there?
Hey Mahesh,
Yeah.
I don't know, my internet is not working properly today. It's off and on.
Okay. Okay. So don't worry. So you got my question, or you want me to repeat the question?
No, I didn't hear.
Okay. So my question is, can we have a overloaded method main? Can we overload main method?
Yes,
Yes. Any justification for that?
I think it's same as the other overloading methods, I guess. We can have number of overloading methods. I'm just thinking.
Okay. Okay. Then how JVM would differentiate that? Because main is not a method that is defined by you. Okay. So that is coming from the JVM. So JVM has to identify that.
Uh, yeah, I don't know.
Okay. So just I wanted to think you more. So out of scope you should think. So that is what I'm trying to deviate from your justifications. Okay. So I think everybody answered your opinions. So Nasrin, you wanted to say something? Okay.
No, it's okay.
Okay. So not a problem. So let me explain. So we can very well overload main method. We can very well overload main method. Okay. So how does it happen, and how JVM could able to recognize particular main method? Okay. So that is, you are going to have one main method with the same syntax, and you are going to have another main methods, another main method with different number of arguments or types of arguments, okay, or order of arguments, okay. So that those main methods will not be treated like a main method of JVM. So those main methods will be treated like a normal methods of our program. So that means if you wanted to see output of those main methods means you have to make a explicit call. Let me write that. So just I wanted to have public, okay, void main. Can we say this is overloading? These are overloading methods.
Will it follow any order, like how JVM will know which is the first one?
From the per se of JVM, there is no something like first one or second one.
Oh, okay.
Finds only one. It finds only one. So that means it should have a syntax, something like this: public static void main string args. That's it. If it is able to find means, so it is going to execute your program. Otherwise, it will throw an error. That's it.
Okay.
As simple as such. When it comes to per se of JVM. Okay. So now,
So you should just see that main.
sorry, yeah,
You should just see that main, at least one line main.
yeah,
Main.
right.
Okay.
Look at this. So from our perspective, we have two methods with the same name and different types of arguments and different number of arguments. Right? Is it not? So that means from this we can say that main can be overloaded. Agreed?
Yes.
Okay. So now I'm going to write some functionality. So just something like this. Sys out So overloading main method. Okay, so if you remove these arguments also, can we call now these two methods are overloading?
Yeah.
Right. Why? Because here how many number of arguments you have? 0. How many arguments you have? 1. So 0 is different from 1. So that means there is change in number of arguments with the same name. So agreed? Am I confusing you guys?
No.
No, right? Okay. So that means we are achieving overloading. Okay. So with the help of main method as well. Okay. So now let's try to execute this program. Can we get output from this main method as well? I'm asking question. Can
You
we?
should get, right, because you're already printing that. So you should get.
Okay.
If you call that main method with an object, then we can get the output.
Right. Right. Sham, you missed one point. So that means, so you created object. With that object, you are not calling this method. Of course, it is
Oh, okay, okay.
name is main, but it will be treated like a normal method. It will be treated like a user-defined method. So that is defined by you. There is no
So
special
you need to,
power given to this main method. Okay.
okay, so you,
Treated like a normal main method. So that's why here you are not making any explicit call. So you will be not getting any output. See here, Control S and Control
yeah,
F11. See here, are we getting any output?
no,
No, right? Okay. So now if you want
yeah,
to get output means what you have to do? You have to do explicit call as like any other method. So that means, see here. Okay. So now Control S and Control F11. So now overloading main method. That's it.
mm, okay.
Okay, so can we overload main method? Yes, yes. Then is there any confusion to the JVM? No, no. The reason is, so first it goes and check for the exact syntax of main method. Okay, even if you change, if you remove anything, like if you remove public, let's remove public. Let's try to execute this program whether compiler is going to identify it or not. Does it identify? No.
Yes.
No, see here, run as a
Not
Java
identifying?
you should get.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah,
Run as a Java application you should get. So let me add
yes.
that. Now let's try to execute. Then you would see that. See here, run as a Java application. Are you able to see that?
Yeah, yeah.
So that means it is that main method is identified by the JVM, and that's the reason why it is being enabled over here. Okay. So try to remove static.
But static should not cause that problem, right?
Okay.
Now go on. Now you should see.
You have to
I
answer.
think you answered this.
See here, JVM is able to identify.
Oh,
No. So that means it is a syntax. You have to blindly follow it. You have to blindly follow it. That's it. If you are trying to alter anything, if you are trying to alter anything out of that statement, so JVM is not going to identify your main method. So it would be treated like a normal method. That's it.
if you add public static there on the top, what will happen? The overloading method, the overloading main method.
I
No,
got
no, one line above.
I got your
58. 58.
Yeah, I got your point. So prior to execution of that, so I have made a statement. What is this? Change in return type, change in return type, we cannot achieve overloading. So that means, so will there be any difference? No. Overloading only bothers about number of arguments or types of arguments or order of arguments only. It doesn't bother about the
Oh,
type you are holding.
Okay.
Doesn't bother about
Okay.
access modifier you are using. It doesn't bother about the keywords you are using for that particular method. It bothers about
Only an argument.
only
Arguments.
arguments. That's it. Only bothers about arguments. That's it. Okay. So why we are getting warning over here? Because it is a static. Static means you don't need to depend on the object. So that means directly you can call like that. Right? So control S and
Mm-hmm.
control F11. See now?
Okay.
Okay. So that's all about overloading. That's all about overloading. So tomorrow we are going to learn overriding. Okay. So overloading itself interesting because same method name with the different variants, with the different behavior, right? Is it not? So this itself interesting for me. Okay. I think you feel interest. I think. Okay. So you're also getting interest to learn this concept. And again, we have another interesting concept like method overriding. Method overriding means again you will be having same method name with different XXX. What is that XXX? You will be learning tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay. So if you have any questions, let's discuss. Otherwise, we can wrap it up. I cannot start method overriding today.
Mahesh,
Yeah.
can we give integer as an argument in the overloading method? Overloading main method?
You wanted to give
Like
some argument?
integer or float or something.
Yeah. I wanted to give both. Then you have to pass some 4 comma 5.0 F. Control S, Control F11.
Okay.
You can very well do that. You can very
Okay. But the execution will start at public static void main string args.
right. So that is what I said, right? So it's a blueprint, or I can say it's a syntax. As it is, you have to give. So then only your JVM is able to identify. That is what I have proved, right?
Okay.
Okay. So if you are altering anything out of this statement, so that would be treated like a normal method. So normal method means explicitly you have to make a call.
Okay.
So that means, so that's the reason most of the people getting confused when you will be asked by
So,
like question, can we overload method means everybody get confused because main method is
so in another
identified by the JVM. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, in another way, though you are writing main in the 58th line, it's not a main. I mean, it's like another program. That's all, another thing.
Yeah,
Because you are creating object for it and then printing.
yeah, it's like a normal method. That's all. But
Mm.
when you look at the method name, both are same. So if you have
Okay.
names same with the number of arguments to change means different parameters means we are considering that as a overloading. So the same overloading
Yeah.
I wanted to apply to a main method. So can we do that
Okay.
overloading for a main method? Yes, that's all.
Okay.
Okay. So Krishna able to follow me because you have been switching over, right? So that's the reason why.
Yes, my
Yeah. So that's
yes,
good.
yes.
Okay. So if you don't have any issues, so we can wrap it up. So and tomorrow and day after tomorrow you'll be not having any sessions. Okay. So your Sunday night and my Monday morning we'll be meeting. Okay. So meanwhile, so if you have any issues, please let me know in that Facebook account. Okay. So I'll be helpful. Okay. So today I'll be sharing, definitely I'll be sharing these programs. Of course, I have been telling the same, I think. Okay. So I'll be sharing today. So actually I was not finding time. So I was busy with my office work as well. So that's the reason why I was not finding any time. But these all days I will make sure that you will be getting. Okay. Okay. So that's all I have, guys. So thank you. Happy weekend.
Okay. Thank you.